Hey guys, Basil and Will from Grayson Hobby, and today we are finally going to review the SPC Maker GF, right? Holy wicked fast. For all your SPC Maker quads, parts, and accessories, visit GraysonHobby.com and search SPC Maker. Everything will show up there. And we appreciate the support so we can do more videos like this.
Grayson Hobby, SPC. Grayson Hobby, SPC. We got the 95 GF, SPC 95 GF. I did change the props. These are Gem Fan, the new Hulky 1940s. I'm gonna run it with these. I've been having some vibration issues with the stock style props, the 4 blades. I think I just got a bad batch of props.
Do those props come with the ones? Or
these do not, but the ones, the other ones were replacements I ordered. I think they got damaged or something, I'm not sure, but I just had a lot of vibration. So I'm gonna run these on it. I haven't tried these yet. I think they're gonna be pretty nice. I got soft mounted motors with silicone soft mounts. I put some liquid electrical tape just to hold the screws because I was out of Loctite at the house, which is a bad thing. You should never be out of Loctite when you're working on this hobby. But
what battery are you running there?
Oh, this is stock, the 350,
right.
30C, nothing special, just something to putz around with.
Right. This is this is our parking lot, so we don't have much room. Yeah. Had it for a while, but you only float for about a couple weeks.
I haven't got a lot of flights in it prior to breaking the motor because I didn't want to put aftermarket motors in and kind of skew the whole results of it. I really wanted to keep it stock as much as possible, other than the tune. That's the only thing I try to mess with the tune more than anything. I don't try to change lenses or anything like that on this. Try to leave them stock. But I did, in this case, I did start playing with different props because I just was not happy with the 2035s. Okay. I like the Gem Fan 2035s, but I was just getting a lot of vibration with this high kV motor on 3-cell. So I tried a couple different props, but I also tried it with 2-cell batteries, 3-cell batteries, and found that there's not necessarily one specific combo that's perfect for everything. But by having it, depending on the battery you're using, the prop you're using, you actually can kind of advance from more like almost baby hawkish all the way up to like the Lizard 95 and faster.
Oh, wow.
So I think this one has a really good potential because it already has all the high-end parts on it from the get-go.
Right.
As well as having the ability to be more basic or beginner, not necessarily beginner, but more entry level of the micro brushless.
Right. And
carry all the way through versus having to buy 5 or 6 different quads.
Right. I've been flying it on 3-cell, and today I made him fly it on 2-cell because I wanted to see how it flies. And surprising.
I mean,
surprised you with that.
Well, I flew it with the 1940 props on it, and they were a little anemic on the grunt of the bottom end, but they're smaller props. Those are for high RPM, high kV motors.
So that would be for our speed test.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, it's not going to necessarily give you more speed, but it's going to give you better efficiency, better runtime, less heat on the motor. So they're probably ice cold because it's only on 2-cell. Yeah, they're not even.
Let me verify. Oh my gosh, it's like even use it. I guess longbows here. And how did they fly with stock props, the longbows?
The longbows with stock props, it had more power. It didn't give you low voltage warning as soon as you punched it as soon. It still did it overall because I think this one has that smaller wire. I really do think it's choking it.
Yes.
But the battery was holding under load much better. I was getting longer flights. A little bit more weight. I was able to throw it around in the turns a little better. Okay.
Because you went from a 350 to a 450.
Yeah, it had more weight to it for sure. The thing I noticed with the 2035 props that no matter what battery I used and all that, on 3-cell at least, I was getting some vibration. Even with soft mounting the motors, I was still getting that little bit of vibration that no tuning could get out.
I gotcha.
That's where the 2040 props came in.
So you upgraded to these new...
The Gem Fan 2040s and 2030s. I think they're called the Hulky props on it, but it's called the Hulky prop.
I guess it looks like a Hulk.
Yeah, I have no idea. They have 2 versions though, a 1940 and a 2040. The 2040 is going to be good for 2 or 3-cell. But you got to be careful with the 3-cell operation, just like the 2035s. If you don't run the PIDs right, you could overheat the motors and blow up stuff.
Okay.
So the 1940, I think, is a little safer bet for 3-cell only use.
Okay.
The motors were running much cooler on the 1940s. The quad was still performing very well. It flies just like the Lizard 95 as far as performance-wise, I'd say, with the smaller prop.
Okay.
With the 2040s, I definitely had way more bottom-end grunt, it seemed like.
Okay.
The 2035 still had the best bottom end grunt, it seemed like, but overall top speed they seemed about the same.
Gotcha.
Once it got up to full speed. The 2040s I would say are probably the best overall prop if you're going to fly 2-cell and 3-cell battery to battery, or from pack to pack. But if you're only going to fly 3-cell, I'd go with the 1940s. If you're only going to fly 2-cell only, the stock props of 2035s would be more than sufficient. But if you start getting vibration, maybe look at different props, because I've had a couple batches of the 2035s now from various vendors I've tried just to make sure that we were getting vibration out of. Okay. And I've got that in the Lizard 95 and the Aurora as well. So it wasn't isolated just to the quad. At first I thought maybe I bent the shaft in the motor, but no, it turns out it was the props.
So the props almost look like the Cyclones.
Yes, they do have the tips are flared backwards, and they also, on the 1940s, they actually flared down, which is kind of cool. So they actually have a downward swept to it.
Okay. Also running on 2-cells, really quiet on the 1940s. I mean, it was that high-pitched sound with the 3S. Holy wicked fast. Versus a like a Baby Hawk kind of sound.
Definitely something I'd say. It doesn't cost much for props. Go ahead and just buy a couple sets of each one and see which one you like the best. Everybody has different preferences, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those props realistically if you're flying at the 2 or 3-cell on that one. Battery-wise, I would stick with the 450, 500 tops. When you get into that 600, 700 range, I think it's just too
doubling
heavy.
the battery almost.
Yeah, it's the weight increase is a lot. You're going to put more strain on the motors and all that trying to fly it. When you crash, you're going to hit harder. The current draw, it might not sag as low, so now you're stressing the ESCs more.
I got you.
I would probably stick with no more than a 500 milliamp on this. I would say be leery of the ones that are like ultralight 600s, high discharge, because usually they're just a fancy label on a 20C battery inside.
So the last video, you notice our new batch is going to have 10 amp and 25 amp. Some people commented like, why we need a 25 amp on this guy?
Well, it's not necessarily that you need it, but having more in reserve, it's not going to weigh anymore. It's not going to be a bigger footprint. It's not going to hurt you any. Right. But say you do crash and the prop strikes and there's a surge current. So when you hit something and the prop is seized, not necessarily seized, but halted, the amp draw increases. It spikes dramatically because it's essentially a frozen motor. So it's shorting the motor almost. Having that little bit of extra capacity in reserve before it actually blows the MOSFET what's in the speed control is better to have on tap for sure. Okay. I would definitely say, given the choice between the two, I would definitely go with 25 amp, especially if it's only a couple bucks more. Yeah. If you only have the 10 amp, not a big deal. If you're only flying 2-cell, it really doesn't matter. I mean, but with these high kV motors and stuff like that, if you're going to be crashing, banging and stuff, I would probably go ahead and venture for the 25. For sure. It's got the RunCam Micro Swift CCD camera on it, so it's got a great camera on it. I do notice it's very sharp image stock. I kind of wish it wasn't quite so sharp, actually. It kind of makes it more grainy in comparison. On a really nice, beautiful day out, I actually kind of prefer the video image on my Aurora 100, which is just a CMOS. But you do notice the greens are more consistent with the CCD than the Aurora. But once it starts getting darker, or not like today, the camera would have been washed out so bad because it's a cloudy day.
So today, definitely overcast.
Yeah, CCD would make. But the biggest winner on this one is the Selectable Vtx. It can go 200 milliwatt or 25 milliwatt. So simply put, you can fly it in places where the 25 milliwatt just can't go.
So what were you flying outside right here?
It was 200 milliwatt.
Okay. Yeah. And then video when you were going through the barn, what was that?
That was 200 milliwatt. But I tried it the same, flying from the same spot with my Lizard 95, which is it's got an old 25 milliwatt VTX in it. That one was literally losing video halfway into it. So it definitely makes a difference having a little stronger signal.
Gotcha. 2, 4, 6, 8 different types of batteries here, 8 different packs of batteries.
Yes.
So so you got a lot of flights in this for the most part, for the time you had it, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you don't have to use one particular pack, right? I mean,
no, I'm changing battery. I'm grabbing. I generally fly, like if I have 4 tattoos, I'll fly those, and if I have 4 longbows, I'll fly those. Right. So I try to fly a batch of each battery.
So right here we got some tattoos from what various quads, right?
Yeah, I fly that on my Aurora 100 a lot.
And you got the Eachine.
Those are stock Aurora 100 and Lizard 95 batteries. I've flown those on it before. And we have the factory batteries I've flown on it. The longbow 450s.
And then you got some Wild Scorpions.
Yeah, I got some 500 3-cell Wild Scorpions I've flown on.
And these were designed for which one?
Those are they were for the Lizard 95.
Okay.
Those were specifically made for it, size-wise, but they do work on this as well.
Gotcha.
Batteries are showing a higher voltage under load, which is good. That means you're going to translate to more RPMs and, better flight.
Right. So I guess there's really no upgrades, modifications other than the props, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically on the quad, I would soft mount the motors, which you can take a couple layers of electrical tape, about 1 millimeter thick wise, and just cut out the X-Acto and put it in there. Some guys are using that rubberized electrical tape, the self-healing tape. That's pretty nice. Or you can get little silicone mounts. If you got a 3D printer, awesome. They're Thingiverse, you can go on and download them.
So when you soft mount, you're literally taking the motor off, putting the plastic.
I'm taking 4 screws out, putting a soft mount it, whether it be electrical tape. This case, I'm actually using silicone ones I found on eBay.
But then you're just putting the motor right back.
Well, yeah, you want to Loctite the screws back in if you do that.
But there's nothing to it besides putting a layer between the motor and the frame.
It's dampening it, dampening the vibration. That's
just because we had some questions about what a soft mounting. Somebody was asking about soft mounting batteries. You don't need to soft mount batteries because they're just on for the ride. No, but at the same time, you do not want your battery flopping around. I did actually put a little layer of thick rubber electrical tape on just a little square on mine. Basically kept the battery from sliding a little bit, similar like the Wizard S and all that, or 220S has. But one thing you want to make sure is you don't have the battery flopping around, you don't have the balance plug flopping around, stuff like that. If you can secure everything, definitely secure it, because if the battery's loose, it's going to transmit the vibration through the flight controller. What about Velcro?
I've never been a fan for like the Velcroing the battery on because it gives it sloppy. I like it holding it tight.
Okay. Yeah, this is definitely an all-around good quad, right?
Yeah, I think it's it's very solid. It handles well. It came with accessories. Some things nobody thinks about: the XT60 to XT30 adapter. Not a lot of people have XT30 battery connectors or charge leads yet.
Right.
So, and the case, the case was really nice. And also, when you guys do run the 1940 props, it fits in the case.
Yay!
So it's almost like maybe it should have came with 1940s from the get-go.
Next video of the SPC Maker will be the speed test. We'll have the radar gun. And taking any guesses right now on the speed of that guy?
What do we hit? 76 on the Lizard?
Totally forgot.
I think 80.
You think it's fast? Well, it's got a higher kV motor.
I definitely think it'll hit 80, but I think it's going to be the batteries can only hold so much current under load.
You get a couple passes. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Hit that little bell so when the next video is with the radar gun speed test, you'll know when it's available. And
enjoy.
Yep.